haven't seen it at the time of recording, so I'm looking forward to it. Who knows? It might surprise me.
Yeah, talk about famous last words. In my video on Amadeus, I asked when was the last time we got a truly great Best Picture winner. Well, with this one, I'm asking the opposite question. When was the last time we got an utter stinker of a Best Picture winner, huh? For me, it's Around the World in 80 Days. We've made it nearly 3 decades without a bad film in this marathon. But folks, the streak ends today. There's no way to sugarcoat this. Out of Africa is one of the worst Best Picture winners of all time. What was the Academy thinking? Were there no good movies in 1985? Well, evidently there were good films in 1985, but of course, none of the aforementioned films were nominated for Best Picture that year. Out of the ones that were nominated, the most notable is probably Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple, which isn't that great either, but it's better than Out of Africa. Fun fact, with 11 nominations, The Color Purple holds the record for the film with the most Oscar nominations without a single win. What a shame. But anywho, Out of Africa was directed by Sidney Pollack, and it stars Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. It was adapted from an autobiographical book of the same name, and it tells the story of a Danish woman who marries a Swedish baron and moves to Africa in order to start a farm, make some money, and take part in the colonization of the Third World. But the movie isn't really about any of that. It's about her relationships with the people in her life, most notably her husband, a local headman named Farah, and a hunter named Dennis. Now, if that brief synopsis sounded kinda lackluster, and like it might not be the most interesting film, and like maybe you should find a better way to spend 2 hours and 40 minutes, then let me just tell you, you're absolutely correct. Let's get this out of the way quick. This movie was really, really boring. It's not as if it was offensively bad or infuriating in any way, it was just dull and uninteresting. Which arguably could be an even worse thing to be than the previous things I mentioned. The story started really slow, and I found it difficult to care about the characters or about anything that was happening at all. I was just waiting for the movie to start kicking into high gear, for something big to come around and push the story forward, but that moment never came. The movie just meanders along for its full duration, with only brief moments of actual investment sprinkled throughout. Meryl Streep, by that time, was already a 2-time Academy Award winner and one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, but her performance in Out of Africa is pretty standard, nothing too special. It was hard for me to connect with her accent, it was kinda distracting. Of course she was nominated anyway, because she's Meryl Streep, that's what she does, but as far as her performances go, this one is one of her weakest. Robert Redford was charming and stoic, but not enough for me to care. I didn't really care about anything. I didn't care about their relationship that much. It didn't matter to me whether they'd end up together by the end or not. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood when I saw this film, but I don't think that's the case. The movie lacks a hook. It lacks a standout element that'll draw me in and keep me engaged. Instead, we just get a bunch of scenes, one after another, that don't necessarily have a connective tissue between them. Things just happen. Sometimes there's progression that leads to an outcome, but sometimes things just happen in random and for no reason. It made it hard for me to get invested. Now, there are a few things that I did like about the film. I think the music was great, and the cinematography was also a highlight at certain instances. Out of Africa won Oscars for Best Cinematography and Best Original Score, and these are the only 2 awards I think this film actually deserved. The scene where Dennis takes Karen on a short flight was very beautiful, even though it didn't really serve a narrative purpose. And I also kinda liked the scene where they have a fight. Their conversation was surprisingly profound. It was unexpectedly the best moment of the film for me. Unfortunately, when it comes to the good, that's about it. Out of Africa was dull, slow, boring, uninteresting, and even though it's not a terrible film, it was a terrible viewing experience. This is one that I definitely recommend you stay away from. It's been a while since we have seen the bottom of the list, but here we are. Out of Africa was so bad, it actually reaches the bottom 5 for now. Only time will tell if it'll stay there or manage to make an escape. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully this is the last time we'll see this side of the list for a while. Up next is the 59th Best Picture winner, one of the big 4 Vietnam War movies written and directed by Oliver Stone, who was an actual Vietnam War veteran. Platoon. Spoiler alert, it's much better than Out of Africa. Much, much better. Check back again for the next video of DB Reviews Oscar Madness Marathon and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss a thing. Thank you all very much, and let the journey continue.